first step is to prepare the case for glue up and also to practice the glue up itself. So before you begin, you're going to need the following things. You're going to need the pieces of your case, and the pieces need to be smooth on the inside. It's much easier to have the inside sanded while the pieces are flat than once they're assembled in a case like this. So make sure the insides are sanded. The outsides can be rough because you can have an opportunity to sand that later. Since we're doing two birds with one stone, preparing the case for glue up, but also practicing the glue up, we're going to need a few things. We're going to need our band clamp over here. Make sure that you have a square. And make sure you have some green masking tape. Ultimately, you're going to need glue, but we don't need that just yet. In order to do our dry fit or our practice glue up, let's start by preparing the clamp itself. You want to begin by taking this handle over here and spinning it so that this edge right up here is up against here. So I'll show you what I mean. I'm going to shrink this distance to make it smaller. Okay, perfect. I'm also going to set aside these 3 clamps for later. Then I'm going to grab these orange tabs and I'm going to pull them. So right now these orange tabs are facing outward like this. You're going to push them so that the orange tabs are inward like this. And what that does is that allows me to pull the band back and forth. If the wings or these orange tabs are pulled down, I have locked the band clamp, and as you can see, I'm not going to be able to pull this cord anymore. So we'll loosen that up, give it some slack, and then we're going to set it aside. Let's take our pieces now, and let's start to do our dry fit. So this is the bottom over here. And you can see that there's this slot up here that goes up. And then if that's the case, the slot here also needs to be up. We don't want them mismatching, because if they're mismatching like this, the shelves won't go in nicely. Then we're going to put the top on. Then I'm going to go ahead, grip it together and flip it upright like this. And I'm going to practice putting the band clamp on. So I'm going to have this corner here, and this corner, and this corner will just be here. Now at this point there's a little bit of slack in the line. I'm going to take one of my little corner pieces and I'm going to put it on the opposite corner as this piece here. So I'm going to slide that in here. I'm going to put another one on this corner here. And the last one is going to go on this corner over here. At this point, I'm going to take one of these orange tabs and I'm going to pull one to lock it. So I'm going to pull this one this way. So this part is now locked, but this one's still loose. And then what I'm going to start to do is I'm going to slowly apply pressure. I'll pull this tight. And if this bows out a little bit, I can push this in a bit. Now there's a lot of tension on the band. Once there's tension and the 4 corner pieces are where they should be, I'm going to lock this orange tab. With it tight, I'm going to spin this handle clockwise or to the right to tighten the band. The band should be tight, like a guitar string. Then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull this band clamp up a little bit. And I want the band clamp in the middle like this. And you know you've done a good job when you pick up the box and it holds together. Now we're using the band clamp without any glue, and we're doing it for a few reasons. One, it's practice. Using the band clamp should be second nature before you start to apply any glue. You definitely don't want to be learning how to use the band clamp while the glue is starting to dry. Secondly, you want to do a dry fit. You want to see how everything fits together, what it looks like when it's all assembled. And lastly, while it's all clamped together, we can start to put the tape on the inside to prep it for gluing. Before we start taping it all together, there's a few things you want to make sure. Make sure that the slots are aligned, and either take your drawers or take the test drawers and make sure they go in nicely in all 3 of the slots. So that's good. That's good. That's good. It should come in and out loosely. If it's tight, you'll want to see your teacher before you start to glue this up. Thinking ahead, when we start to glue this up, when we put glue in this joint over here, the glue is going to start to spill out onto the sides. And that's going to be a problem because the glue is going to be very hard to get rid of once it's glued up. And what you're worried about is the glue going inside the slot, which will have problems for your drawers later, or it's just not very good looking. So at this stage, while your box is still clamped up, take your green painter's tape, and we're going to tape up all of these edges. So I'm going to put the tape right up against the edge. I'm going to try to make it as straight as possible. Then you're going to do the other corner. And this is what the corner should look like when it's done. That way, when the glue spills out, the glue is going to spill outside onto the tape. And then what we can do is we can just peel this tape and the glue will come off with the tape, leaving us with really nice, clean inside corners. Now I'm going to do this for the remaining corners.